and viewer mail?
Well, we don't have any viewer mail yet, but if you'd like to have viewer mail, send it to doug@riskandrewardtv.org, and I will do my best to answer your questions. However, I do have a very important question that somebody should be asking, and I'm sure you are asking this if you're listening to this, is what investment traps should I avoid?
Tell me.
Yeah, pretty good question.
I'd like to know.
Okay, so there was a report that was put out, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes, by the Securities Association about 10 top traps that investors fall prey to. And they think these scams should be highlighted, and you should be very cautious when investing in any of these things. So I'll just give you a quick list, and then of course click the links at riskandrewardtv.org. You can click the link and read what they said about it, because I don't want you to just listen to me. So the first one is leveraged ETFs. Now, an ETF is an exchange-traded fund, much like a mutual fund, except it trades like a stock. So ETFs in general are a pretty good investment.
Yes,
They're like indexes, but they have leveraged ETFs that not only short, but borrow money and can really be tricky, and you can get misled. And actually, I wrote an article for the Investopedia on them. They are definitely something you should avoid unless you actually know specifically what you're getting into. Very dangerous investments there. Inverse ETFs, leveraged ETFs, all very cautious there. Any foreign exchange scheme, you see these on TV, right? And you trade foreign exchange and you can make millions, and foreign exchange trading is usually leveraged something like 100 to 1, even more, and you can lose your shirt as fast as you can make money. Very, very cautious there. Gold and precious metals. Gold is hot, so people are trying to get into this. Very cautious in gold and precious metals. Green technology, something else that's hot. Got to be very careful with green technology. Oil and gas partnerships is something they usually sell. A lot of telemarketing and phone calls on oil and gas partnerships. Very, very cautious there. Lots of scams going on in that. There's also this other thing called Affinity Fraud.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
This may be related to Bernie Madoff in a way.
Kinda.
This is a way. It's called Affinity Fraud, so it's really abusive, and it's a way that they can tap into an association that you have. So maybe you're part of a religious group or an educational group,
a professional group, a church,
group,
whatever,
charity, some other fund that, so you're already familiar with people, and people will tap into the
trust. The trust
trust
between the members. You know, a lot of people in, all kinds of things, churches, ethnic groups, professional groups, educational groups, even the language and the cultural or age groups. A lot of times there's a lot of community or culture built around that provides a level of trust. And there's lots of financial, hanky-panky that go on with these groups, and the guys that are shady, girls too sometimes.
So they could take the roster from that group that you belong to and say, hey, I belong to this group as well, isn't it great?
That's right.
I've got some deal for you.
And by the way, there's this oil and gas partnership you should be aware of. Yeah, so be careful of the Affinity Fraud. It's very lucrative and it's very prevalent. Don't believe them just because they're in a group that you're in or that you know of. Couple of other ones, undisclosed conflicts of interest. I know as a registered investment advisor, I have to disclose all my conflicts of interest. You definitely want to steer clear of them and ask them what other conflicts they may have. Private or special deals. Private placements are also very risky.
So what's a private placement?
A private placement would be somebody that could give you stock in a company that wasn't public.
Oh,
so
okay.
If there's some company that isn't quite an IPO yet, they might have a deal that you would be interested in.
Yeah, get in now before it goes to IPO.
That's right. And so maybe it's good, maybe it's run by, some guy in a storefront that's never going to be there next week. So be careful of those. Anything of off-the-books deals, something that isn't quite above board, and anything unsolicited online. I don't think I have to tell you that if you're going online and getting spammed by Kenya or any of the other scams online. I'm sure you.
A lot from Nigeria have come my way in the past.
Number one export in Nigeria, email. That's it. Yeah, number one export.
And number
just
one
kidding.
import is U.S. dollars
US
from people taking
from
the,
email, yeah. And we do know somebody lost a couple $100,000 believing in one of those Nigerian emails. That's the list that's published that I'll send you the link to. I want to add two others that are my own kind of biases here. One is viatical settlements. Viatical settlements are basically selling your life insurance before you die. So if you are up in age, they come and say, well, we'll give you part of your life insurance now, and then we'll put the policy in our name, so when you die, we'll get our money back. There's a lot of unscrupulous people doing that business. It's legitimate investment or deal, a legitimate financial deal, but there are some very unscrupulous, there's abuse there. And also reverse mortgages, lots of abuse in reverse mortgages. Be very cautious. So those are 10 plus 2, 12 investment schemes that you should be aware of that can trap you into a position you don't want to be in. Check out the link in the show notes for more details.